Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everything Life and Real Estate. I'm Linda McKissack.
And I'm Dana Gentry.
Thought you forgot who you were for a minute.
I know. Actually, my phone just dinged, and so I looked over at it.
Crazy. Okay, so we're going to kind of share today. I got the fortune of stepping into breakouts and for masterminds for Gary the other day. So I had teams, and there were probably about 10 groups. And so what we did is master faculty or MAPS coaches all subbed in and kind of just led discussion. So it was interesting that they surveyed what are the things you want to know the most. And the top two things that came out, one was how do you keep your team members?
Oh, wow.
And second, well, actually there's three. Second one was what's your best lead generation right now, hottest lead generation. And then number three was how are you what are you doing to your database right now? So I thought those were all three very good subjects.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, yeah, I can definitely share some of these database ones too. Touch your database. Okay. And number one, how to keep team members.
Yeah.
Was it because they were going on their own or just team hopping, or do you know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe a combination of all, some going on their own, some quitting altogether. Okay. One of the things that one of our members said, well, mine's making a lot of money, so they're not even thinking about leaving right now.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you can really control that, right? Because unless you're doing a lot, and what I figured out she's doing is a lot of great lead generation.
Yep.
One of the things that she brought up in lead generation is she does a makeover of a house. I want to say it's like every year or whatever. And so she lets her people vote on who they know that has a house that needs a makeover. And then they do a makeover on it. So that was one thing she did. And then the second thing she did was on the 100th commission each year, they let their database vote on what charity they want it to go to.
Oh, that's cool. I love that idea.
Yeah. So those were two her ideas. One of the girls, and she said that makeover cost her nothing. Like her affiliates, the carpet, cleaning, painting, the vendors all pitch in.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah, so that was a good idea. And then there was a really good idea for non-owner occupants that one of the girls talked about was 2 times a year. She mails out, I think it's like 6,000 of these to non-owner occupants, people that have a home in her area but don't live there.
Yep.
And she said it's the size of a birthday card, and it looks like a birthday card, and the stamp looks real.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think she said she put stories in there, and I think one of the stories she said was like a starfish story.
Yep.
And she asked them kind of what, I think maybe what's going on in their world or whatever. And she said she's had a lot of people use her, like she had 6 listings from this.
Wow.
And the people that didn't use her, sometimes they would reach out to her and say, hey, we love this, that you do this. And if we get ready to sell it, we'll call you. So I thought that was kind of cool.
So she just only does that twice a year. That's a great idea. Yeah. There's I'm telling you, people love just the ideas of things. And sometimes it is nice to do a little switch up to something that you've been doing in the past. I think the house makeover, man, that is an awesome idea. And I love the 100th commission. That's super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I like both those. Then there was another one that was, this one is good. This guy he calls it the 10th, the 25, 10, 25, and 90. So on the 10th day, he does a client giveaway. So the 10th of every month. On the 25th of every month, I like this because it's a system and you can remember it. 25th of every month, he highlights a business in his area. And every 90 days, he does a client event. So that was kind of cool.
Frankie's going barking in the background. I had to mute for a second. So he's doing a client event. Wow. Yeah. That's great. Every month and a half. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yep. I love that.
And I've heard a lot of like the reverse bowl stuff.
Yep.
And a lot of them were doing kind of recreating some of those ideas. I think they're pretty careful. I don't know if you can do those in all the areas, but I don't know if you can or can't, but apparently in these people's areas, they could do it.
Yeah, that I think you do have to check your state on that, but those are really good ones. I love right now. I think it's funny. I feel like those are always kind of the ones, like those are the hot topics, like everybody wants to know the hottest lead gen, and the team members. I feel like I've heard that, but I'm not 100% sure. And the database touches. And I shared with you, I recently got my hands on a database workbook that one of my agents in place shared with me. But there were some really great things. They gave like 8 points to grow your sphere of influence today. And it was number 1, build your presence on social media. Number 2, wear your real estate swag. Like some of the stuff I feel like people used to do, and then they kind of got away from it. Like, are you wearing your team logo, to the gym and to the grocery store? And do you have a name tag on, or, your water bottle or whatever? Talk to people, just striking up conversation wherever you go. Join a networking group, leave your card everywhere. And that was a funny one because a lot of people said like they don't even use cards anymore. They're doing
I don't either. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I haven't had a card in like, gosh, probably 3 years. And they said like people were saying how much business they used to get from leaving their cards, like every time they paid at a restaurant, or they just went anywhere that they could leave a card. Utilize your email contracts, keep track of email addresses, and send a monthly or quarterly email newsletter. Volunteering at community functions, and then network with other real estate agents. And I was talking to an agent actually in my Kentucky office yesterday that I help coach. Her name's Rebecca, and she has 10 pendings right now, and she's an individual agent. And our market is down. We unfortunately are down a little bit right now. Well, not a little bit, kind of quite a bit. And I said, Rebecca, and she's only been in the business 2 years. And I said, Rebecca, 10 pendings right now is amazing. And so we had been sourcing her business, and she sits on like 4 boards. I told her, I said, I don't even know how you have time to do it. But over 50% of her businesses was coming from all the community events that she's at and the boards that she sits on. And she runs the Humane Society and in her small town. And so it's like, even though she's only been in the business 2 years, she's working on her sphere, but her sphere is growing because she's doing all these community events. So I thought that those were really good. And then they gave a list that was like, I thought just so it's like almost so easy that it like we should have it all. But they gave, who do I already know who isn't in my database? And there's 150 people that they listed that you may not have in your database, like your dentist, your doctor, your CPA, who cuts your grass. I mean, there's 150 of these, your close friends, who does your auto repair, who's your hairstylist, who does your manicure, your facials, who's your pharmacist, what local pet sitter. I mean, 150 people. And I was reading through these, Linda, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know that I would have thought of half of those people.
Yeah, it's funny. That list is an old list. It's been around for, I was texting Monica when I was on the mastermind the other day. I said, Monica, everything old is new again.
Yep.
There may be a new tool to use to do it, but every idea is the same ideas that have been around for the 40 years I've been in the business. And that's one of them, is having that list that you kind of check to see who's not in your database.
Yeah.
One of the things that, speaking of talking to people that was on that first list that you talked about, when we taught wealth building for Bruce in Boise the other day, we went to the happy hour afterwards. And one of the ideas I had given them was to every server or anybody that you run into, say, you might be good in my business. Well, of course, they will say, oh yeah, that's a great idea. We were at the happy hour, and one of the guys sitting across from me, I said, hey, do that to the waitress, because she was really pretty sharp and everything. And I said, remember to do that. So he said, hey, you might be good in my business. And she smiled and laughed and everything. And I said, hey, you got to ask him what's his business. She goes, well, what's your business? He goes, I'm in the business of real estate. And she goes, oh, I'd love to talk to you. So I said, well, get her. Okay. So she leaves the table and he goes, well, what do I do now? And I'm like, you get her, say, hey, if you're serious about that, I'd love to get your contact information. But 99% of the time they're going to say, oh, I haven't thought about real estate, but I tell you what, my mother, I need to buy a house. And matter of fact, she had just moved here. Or, my aunt needs to sell a house. So, but just something simple like that, making a conversation that makes them have to ask what you do.
Yeah.
And either way, you get a recruiter, you get a client. But it was funny because she's like, yeah, I am interested. And she was sharp, so, just little things like that, being really, and sincere and really genuine and really, focused on what everybody you talk to ask them that question.
Yep. What is it? Servers and cell phone salespeople are like the two biggest in the last 3 years of where real estate, and teachers. I think those were the top three.
And I think I would be asking every police officer, every teacher, everybody, because
Yep.
they're definitely thinking about a new career.
Oh yeah, I know it. I was just having this conversation with my neighbor yesterday about how many police officers are getting out, like they're retiring as soon as they can, or they're taking early leave and doing something different, and just how many are looking for other things to do.
And just doing a seminar for a second career for people. Hey, thinking about a second career, do a seminar on those, because here's this thing, maybe only 1 or 2 would get into real estate, but the rest of them would remember you to sell their house or buy a house.
Totally. Yes, totally.
We always call that the backdoor approach,
Yep. I liked on this list too that there was 2 more things I thought were really good. And again, nothing that's new, but probably just a good reminder. Making even a list of decision makers in your community, like if hospital administrators, local government administrators, school administrators, business owners, any sort of human resource directors. Another thing that another agent I was talking to last week in Columbus said was that they were going to continue. No, it wasn't. It was in Indianapolis. And she said, I'm just going to continue to push over and over for the HR director of, I don't remember, one of the sports teams there, whichever one is in Indy, not Colts, but something else. And she said, I've reached out to her. She has responded, twice, but we just haven't connected. And I said, that needs to be like one of your main priorities. Stay on her until she responds.
And send her like a really cool gift. Create beholdenness, reciprocity.
Yep, love that. Oh my God, great reminder. Megan, if you're listening.
Yeah. Send them a really cool, unique gift, because when you give to another human, it creates this amazing motivator called beholdenness and reciprocity.
Yep.
And watch it in your own self, how when someone gives you something, you just start dying to give something back to them.
So true.
And it's kind of a unique touch that no one else is doing. So I would think of something cool or fun or something that I could send her as a gift to put me top of mind.
Get her attention. Yeah, even more. That's so true. And actually, she's taking our influence course right now. And so she was like, I'm working through everything in your old influence course. And I remember we talked about that. You talked about that in the course, but that's so true. And I think that was a really good thing. And then the last thing that I got from this workbook that I just thought is such a great reminder, they just have listed out all 50 states. And it just says, who do you know that lives in any of the following states? And then from there, make your database work for you. Like you start to add those individuals to your database, find a talented agent there if you don't already know one, and then even start having a separate drip or separate touches. And I've heard Gary say before, I can help you buy or sell anywhere in the United States. Like, are we limiting ourselves to like just where we're at? But we could know a ton of people, family in other states that we could be referring.
And, again, me, I love training and seminars. One of my seminars would be how to find the best agent when you relocate to another state.
Yeah.
To get people to raise their hand that know in 6 months or 8 months that they're going to be moving to another state.
Yep. That's a great idea. Yeah. Sometimes I remember what I think it's John that always says it might not be about learning something new, but remembering what is true. And right now, isn't that so good? I know. And I know we all love to learn new stuff, and you and I especially. Yet I feel like with everybody just really needing to like buckle down, get back to the basics. Like I've been telling people, out of all the things you can do, just pick the 3 that you want to focus on between now and the end of the year, and cut out everything else. Like stop doing everything else.
Yeah. Well, have you gotten this playbook yet that just came out? It is phenomenal. Oh my gosh. I've been telling everybody about it.
Yes.
Even if you did as a group, took one of the plays each week from the KW playbook and ran those plays.
Yep.
And had a group of mentors to hold you accountable for each of you to do it. That would be you could, I mean, here's a saying I've always had in my life: activity breeds activity.
So true.
You don't have enough of something going on. just get busy doing something. Activity breeds activity. And so sometimes we keep waiting until we either have the perfect idea or we have the idea perfect. And you can't do that. You're just going to have to move, and the rest, I always say you'll learn in motion.
Yep, absolutely. And if you, by the way, are not with KW and you're listening and you would like a playbook, we ordered tons of extras of them. So we're happy to send one. Just shoot us an email or connect with us on social media or whatever, and we'll get you one. But I just had 2 huge boxes delivered on Friday of all of them because they're so good. I can't wait to give them out to people.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, any other cool ideas or things? I think, right now people are definitely feeling like the pinch, and I think we've got so many people that, have never had to go out and really work on lead generation. They really haven't. And now more than ever is where skill is so important.
Yep.
Price reductions. We talked a little bit about that. It was interesting in the mastermind. There was a group of people that still were not having to do any price reductions. And then there was a group that the days on market had moved up to 40 days.
Yeah, I think we're in the 40s, like in some areas.
And I always say the fastest lead generation you can have is to get a listing you have to sell.
Yeah.
Instead of going out and getting new business, if you can get the listing you have to sell, that's the fastest way to a commission check.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to learn and learn how to use your scripts and dialogues to get people, to reduce their price or to understand. And one of the things I said was, you got to get the market on one side and you on the other in this kind of scenario, and just let them know that the market speaks to you and your job is to interpret the market for them so that they can make the best decision and get the amount of money, And so I think just really working on how do I set that up in every listing appointment, and then how do I follow up with that with each conversation that I have with them. I think a lot of people aren't used to having to have any other conversations with their sellers other than listing them and when they get a contract. And now you're going to have conversations in between those 2 points.
Yep. Totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree. I think like actually, this is a kind of a funny story, but in our Kentucky office, we just had a big agent growth and appreciation day, and everyone who RSVP'd, we gave them their yearly gift. And this year it was a person. They were so cool. Nancy found them on Etsy, and they were like the best thing. They were a doormat, and it says "Welcome to my open house," and it has the agent's name, phone number, and our office logo on the bottom. And so we gave them to all the agents so they could use them at their open house, because we're really pushing you need to get back out to open houses. I mean, the people who are doing them, Linda, in our offices are having a lot of who are doing them right. Actually, let me correct that. The people who are doing open houses right, they're not just deciding on Friday to have it and sticking one sign in they're putting 10, 15 signs out. They're putting them on social media. They're, telling the neighbors and on all the mega open house steps, which are in the playbook, I think, by the way, they're either in this one or the last one, but they're getting clients, and they're getting people who are, if they're not buying that house, they're buying other houses, and they're getting listings because people are seeing man, look at everything that they're doing to sell that house. And so I feel like it's the stuff like that. Yeah. Like you said, activity breeds activity. If you are not busy right now, just get in to do something, make yourself go work some open houses on the weekends and get back out, because there are still people getting business. And actually one of my, I got to find it, cause I'm sure you heard this a million times, but it was a great reminder for me. One of my agents said that one of their biggest ahas recently, they heard from Diana, and it was, opportunity is never lost. It's always found by someone else. Yeah. And I was like, what a great reminder for this market. Honestly. I mean, it really, opportunity is never lost. Somebody's going to find it.
I found when I was building the region, I found a magnet, and I've never found it again. And I was sending it to people. It said something similar to that. Don't worry about taking an opportunity, missing an opportunity. Somebody else will take it, or something like that. I don't remember what it was. I have tried forever to find those magnets again, because they were so good, because half the time it was people telling me no, that they weren't interested. But anyway, it was either a card or a magnet. I can't remember, but it was the best thing. I think it was a card, actually. But anyway, I loved it, because I thought, gosh, this is so true. So many people just pass on an opportunity that could be a game changer. And the same thing with these ideas. I mean, it's a matter of picking, like you said, 1 or 2 or 3, and being disciplined enough to implement those
Yep.
ideas.
Yep. Totally agree. Totally agree. Awesome. Well, these were some great ideas. Hopefully everybody got, I'm going to share some of these with our people in our office too, that even if they're listening to the podcast, I just love that 100th commission. That like
Yeah.
a favorite one.
Yeah. Yeah, I
What-
like that one, and I love the makeover, and I also love the non-owner occupant one, because those people that are non-owner occupant, you might be the only person that ever reaches out to them, and that it's like when you're getting ready to do something, you're like, who in the world am I going to call in that city?
Yep.
So I loved her idea about that also. So
yeah, I do too. And really, even I told Sarah, like, I need to go back and make a list of everybody that I know in different states. I haven't done that in probably 2 or 3 years. And
yeah.
I think we're in the fall cleanup time. So it's good. This is a great time of year to do that. If you're starting to slow down, start focusing on the things that you've wanted to do, but haven't had time to do.
Yeah, so true. All right. Well, great ideas. So if you have not, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And remember, the greatest compliment you can give Dana and I is a 5-star review, and that you pass this podcast along to anyone that you think would benefit from these conversations. And if you have a challenge, an opportunity, a guest that you'd like to see us have on the podcast, reach out to us at info@everything life and real estate. So Dana, I guess I'll see you next week.
Sounds good. See you then.
Be sure to subscribe for more business strategies and tactics to inspire you to live an abundant real estate life. Don't forget to rate and review so we can bring you the best content. Find this and other valuable information at everythinglifeandrealestate.com.